ones they don't like, every aspect of the game. So it's really about the core gameplay, the meta gameplay, everything. We consider that feedback extremely important. If I can put it this way, that's our philosophy. The one we pursue and advocate, and we want to stick to it. So that means we're going to be collecting lots of feedback.
But that's regarding the technical side. It also applies to different bugs because, after all, even though we test the game internally,
how people play, what they do when they're in possession, the different ways they attack and defend, as well as what they do in the meta, which footballers they sign. All this will be in the alpha testing.
Classic mistake you always make when you set something up yourself. You work on it for so long, in your own little bubble, that your feedback loop on it kind of gets stuck. Then, to get any sense of what you're trying to achieve, you start turning happens. Well, ultimately you end up with a game that's built for yourself, but that nobody else can play. This game is all about the gameplay on the pitch. We must never forget that what we have is the passing versus, say, the long-distance shot and interception. How do you balance the attack for same buttons? No game designer is able to take in all the possibilities. That's the whole point of testing on a wider audience.
Now, obviously, collect a lot of statistics, so we'll be able to gather tons of analytics, everything from which buttons are pressed, which buttons are not pressed, and when. We'll be able to look at general patterns, and that will enable us to understand what you're happy with them. We've made loads of different iterations. I have to say, it already works pretty well, and it's done in a way that allows you to configure it. But how do we ultimately configure it? How should it look in the end? And how should it work within the game context? So many questions. Also, we have what amounts to a pretty complicated geometry of
on the stability of the grass cover, on its strength. Honestly, this is true. One of the checks involves a ramp of a very exact size that is set at a 45-degree angle, okay? Referring to those strict physical data points, I set up the ball using the same parameters in the game, but...
Or gameplay mechanics. As I say, ultimately, do they enjoy it?
Okay, and now a tricky question.